Hello, this is Larry from the School of Dentistry lab. I'm going to demonstrate today the design and scanning of the crowns that you're going to be producing for your course. So what we're going to be needing is we're going to need the model with your die trimmed and articulated, and we're also going to need to scan this directly to a lab scanner, which will be in the CAD lab. So let's go ahead and get started. So what you're going to do first is you're going to open up this 3Shape Dental software. The 3Shape Dental software that is located on the left-hand side of the screen, I already have open, so pretend that it got opened, and now you're actually seeing the main screen where you're going to start. So what you're going to do is you're going to start a new case, which there's a button on the top left that will say New. So all you're going to do is left click on that New button. It's going to bring up the prescription form. So you have to put in your name, and it will be last name first. So in here I'm just going to call myself Test, and first name is going to be Larry. What we're choosing is whatever tooth you're choosing as your crown. In this scenario, it is the lower first molar, which will be right here, tooth number 19, which I will click on. Now that tooth is highlighted. Now we have to choose what material we're going to choose. In here, we're going to go up to anatomy, that's at the top right. We're going to click on that, and you're going to go into this screen that will say crown. Click on crown, and then there's a green plus sign. Now we have to choose what material we're going to use. And right now what we're going to choose is we're going to choose Emax Zircad Prime, which is for full contour zirconia or for full contour Emax crowns. You're going to click on that, and you're going to have to choose a shade. Everybody's shade is going to be A2. So we're going to select A2. Once that is selected and everything's ready to go, at the top right, we're going to tell it what we're trying to scan. There's multiple options. The default option is the model, and that's what we want to be on. So you won't have to do anything with that other than hit down here at the bottom, OK. So when you hit OK, that brings you back to the main screen. And this is where, when you open up the software on another computer, you're going to find your case. If you do this within a few days after you scan, you can go into the last 2 days, you can go into the last week, you can go into the last 2 weeks, or you can go into the scan button right here on the left, and you can always find your case that is ready to scan. So here what we've done is we've done this today, so it's coming up on today's screen. So what we're going to do here is you can right click, and then you can go on to scan. Or you can go up in here once this is highlighted, and you can go to this next button, scan. All it's going to do is it's going to push your case directly to scan your models. And this will be intuitive, and the screen will tell you what to do. So right now we're just waiting on the scanner to initiate. Once the scanner initiates, it's going to come up to this screen right here. And this screen is going to tell you exactly what you need to do. The first one is it wants to do your lower jaw, which is this model right here. And there's a plate that comes on the scanner. That plate will tell you exactly how it goes in, because there's 2 dots. There's these 3 dots here, and there's 2 dots on the plate right here. All you're going to do is going to put the buccal surface directly to the back of the plate, and you're going to place the plate back onto the scanner. The scanner will automatically start scanning. So all we're going to do is we're going to wait for the initial scan, and you'll see it come up on the screen here in 1 second. And all it's doing is a very vague scan. It's just kind of giving you an idea of what you're looking for. And as you can see, this little blue dot, it's telling you to mark tooth number 19. All I'm doing is I'm clicking on it, and it's going to turn it that nice dark green color. What you're trying to do is tell the computer what part of the model you want to scan. I like to scan entire 2 surfaces, so I'm going to come in here and left click and highlight everything in green that's the tooth. Once that's done, I'm going to click on the next button right up in here. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow the scanner to now refine the scan and give a better scan to the model. And you'll see that come up on the screen, and you'll see a lot more detail. So there we go. It only takes a couple seconds, and you can see the detail on the model is a lot nicer. And this won't be the only scan we do. When we get to the end, we're going to scan this die by itself, which will really sharpen up just the individual die for the sharpness. Once we're done doing that, you can click on the next button, and what it's going to do is it's going to take and say we need to do the upper jaw. We're going to take that same plate off. We're going to remove that model. Same scenario. The buccal side goes to the back of the scanner. We're going to place that directly onto that putty, and we're going to place that back into the scanner, and it will automatically start scanning again. So while that's doing that for a couple seconds, we'll wait, and you can see right in here that there's some areas I want to paint green. I want to make certain all the teeth are green. Now we've done that, we can go into next. And that will again give us better detail on the model. So we're just waiting, and I don't like to talk. So there we go. And now you can see the detail on that is a lot better. As you can see right in here, it captures very good detail just like the screen does. So that is usually very good for what we need. So we can place both of those down, go back into that top left corner, and go into next. Now it's wanting us to do this into an articulation. So what it's wanting to do is put that articulator back into the correct occlusal. And what we want to do is we want to take a rubber band, and we want to rubber band the articulator together. There is detail on here that we don't want to cover. We want to keep that rubber band to the front of the articulator so it's not interfering with a lot of the detail, because we need this detail to be able to create the actual detail for the bite. And we're just going to place that back onto that blue putty just like that. Make certain that your die is completely seated. If it is up off of this, you're going to get an inaccurate bite. And again, just like before, buccal surface directly to the back of the scanner. Place that back in, and the computer should automatically start scanning it. So what we're doing is we're just waiting on that to occur. Sometimes the computer and the scanner don't work really well together, and it won't give you a great bite. So what you can do is you can actually turn around and manually do the bite if needs. I'll show you that later on. But if you go into the lower model right here, you can manually create the bite. If yours goes bad, just click on the three dots right here. And what it's doing is you want to take the lower scan, and you're going to triangulate certain positions on the model. So you have the big model up here on the lower, and you've got this model down on the bottom left, and you need to create 3 points that the computer can actually dictate are correct. So I see there's a void right here and a void right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one point of that void, and about the same area, click on it again. What I want to do next is find another clear distinguishing mark, like this area right here in this area. I can click there, and I can click in the same kind of point there. And I need one more third point, and I can see a notch right in this spot, there and there, and I want to put my third point somewhere there. All the computer needs is triangulation to get it close. And you can see the dots might not line up. If you want it absolutely precise, you can actually grab a dot, put it right over the other dots. Based on 3Shape, they say you don't need to do this. It automatically does it, and it just needs to be close. So you can do it either way. Once that's done, you can go align the upper arch. And now we're going to do the exact same thing on the upper. And this, you only do this if the computer cannot put the models together. But I find about 50% of the time it doesn't put them together right. So we're doing this just to bypass it. Again, 3 points, point one right there, point one right there. We're looking for another distinguishing mark. I can find one right in here and one right there. And I can do a third mark, which is right here on that cusp right there and right there. And again, nice and clear, and it's put it right where it needs to go, and you can go into next, and now your alignment based on your model is right there. So if you want to ever confirm it, you can go in here and you can actually confirm through the custom FOSSA relationship. You can go in here, you can look at it, and you can verify that everything's good. It is good, ready to move forward. So now that's done, what we want to do is go into next. The next is allowing you to do the individual die. So what we have to do is we have to place this die directly onto that same lab putty, which is right here, and it doesn't really matter which way this goes because it's going to be a 360-degree scan. You just place that right back on and the computer will start scanning it for you. And this is going to sharpen up your margins. It's going to sharpen up the contours of your prep so that you're getting a very good anatomical fit from crown to prep. And you can see how sharp everything's gotten just with that one die. So when we do that, we can go into next, and it's actually overlaid the die directly to the whole model. You can go into next again, and now at this point in time, the scanning portion of this is completed. So at this point, all you're going to do is close this down. So there's a right hand X button right up in here. You want to hit the X and close, and it says, do you want to close? Yes, just hit OK. Now what that's doing is that's saving that, saying scanning. If you look on the computer right here, it will show scanned. Now your case is scanned and you're ready to go into the next phase. That's when you leave this computer in the CAD lab, and in the tech lab you're going to go and you're going to open up that same software. So right here I'm going to minimize this, and you're going to now open up your computer in the tech lab, and you're going to go into that 3Shape system software right here, that left button right here, that tooth, and you're going to double click on it. And when you double click, it will open up just like this. Now, depending on how long it took you from scanning to designing, I'm going to reiterate this. You can go into the last 2 days, and you can see the test is right here. You can go into the last week. The test case is still there. The last 2 weeks, the test case is still there. There's a whole bunch of cases there. But since I did it today, I'm going to go into today, and you can just highlight that same button. You can see down in here, you got the case that you just scanned. All the scanning's done. You can verify it down here in the bottom left. It will say patient, test Larry. So I know I'm on the right case. So all I'm going to do is click on that. Again, you can go into that right-hand corner, that little arrow button, or left-hand corner, excuse me, and you can right-click, or you can just right-click on the name and go in design. And that will now bring up the design software. So this is a two-phase system, scanning and then designing. So at this point in time, we've got the crown number 19, and what it's telling you, you're on this top screen right in here, and that's the segmentation screen. All it's telling you to do is choose what tooth you're doing. Because we clicked on tooth number 19 on the design software, you can see it's already highlighted. So we don't have to re-click, we don't have to do anything. It's telling you what to do here. So all you have to do is go into next. The next phase is going to now allow you to mark your margins, check everything. So what we're doing is we're actually just coming in here and we're looking at different points. And you can see all the dark, the red, that brown color, those are considered undercuts. The undercuts are automatically blocked out by the computer. And you can see if you have little undercuts on your die, you can see all these little spots right here. Not a problem. The computer will block those out when it goes to design your crown. If you ever change that and turn that feature off, it will actually mill out those in a positive on the intaglio of your crown, which will in turn create a problem with seating your crown. So never turn that off. Allow the computer to block out those undercuts unless you want to block it out yourself. But at this point in time, the computer's ready to go to the next phase. Now, if you turn on certain portions of the screen, as you can see right up in here, you have these buttons right here that you can turn on and off certain phases. So at this point in time, you can actually leave the antagonist or the opposing off, and you can actually even turn off the remaining of your working model and just leave your die. This way you can actually rotate and just see where the computer marked where the margins are. If you don't like one of the markings, you can actually should be able to move it, but this is not allowing you to move it in this particular software, so it must have been an upgrade. So you can also change your insertion axis. You just left click and you can actually move that insertion axis by moving the crown, and you can come up in here and you can set it. If you want to reset that insertion axis, don't forget to hit set, but you don't have to do it unless this line right here is not. If you're looking at it vertically, if you can't see parts of your margin, then you turn the crown or the prep the way you want, and then you go to set, and then it will set the new insertion axis. But if I change the insertion axis right now, the whole lingual side of this prep would not be there, and it wouldn't allow you to design your crown anyway. But the insertion axis is perfect, so you don't have to do anything. So what we can do is we can move on to the next screen. So when we move on to the next screen, this is allowing for the margin to be marked. And you can see right in here, I don't know how well the camera picks up this detail, but you can see right in here, if I'm to my cursor point, I want to point at the screen, but you can see the cursor right here, and you can see this design that's right here on the kind of the left hand side of the prep. The higher up I go on my cursor, you can see where it's marked away from the margin. So you can actually go on the margin, you can sit there and say, I don't like this margin. You can actually turn around, you can left click, and you can redraw a margin. If you don't like what you did, you can go back and it will remove the last segment. Or you can actually just click on one point and click on another, and it will straighten certain aspects out. Now I made two changes I don't like. Now I have to go back 1 and 2, and I can go back to the third and leave it as is. I can go around and be aware that you might see certain areas and you say, oh, I don't like the way that margin is. Imagine the size of this prep. The size of the prep on the screen is the size of your head. The size of the prep in real life is the size of the head of my pinky. So you're seeing every little imperfection, and just because you see an imperfection doesn't mean it's wrong. Don't start just changing everything to try to get perfection, because chances are you're going to mess it up and your margins are going to be short. So unless you see something really major wrong with this, like something like that, then you might sit there and say, I don't like that, and then you want to redraw it and say, oh, I need to fix this, and come back around and redraw certain things. But if you didn't see that imperfection and it was too far off, just leave it alone, and that is correct right where the margin's at. So once that's good to go, all we're going to do is say, next, we like what we have. It's going to go into this next phase, which is your cement gaps and certain areas of your crown that has to meet minimum standards, which is right now we have a cement gap at 10 microns. So the computer automatically creates a certain amount of space on the die itself. So when it mills, it's actually putting a virtual die spacer on the die. So when you go to cement the crown, you already have that space. And that's what this cement gap right in here is. Now it says an extra cement gap. So there's another 6/10 of a millimeter, or 60 microns right in here. You can actually lower that if you want. I'm going to lower it to 0.20, but I would recommend not changing anything on the computer. I'm doing it for effect. In here it will say distance to margin line, 1 millimeter. That is imperative, because that cement gap will create a cement gap all the way down to the margin if you say 0 on that. What we want is that cement gap only to start 1 millimeter from your margin line. So it might start right here at the tip of my cursor. And then from that tip of my cursor to the margin, it will be completely set at 0. It will be a flush margin directly to the die. If you change that distance to the margin, be aware, if I change it to 2, all of a sudden the cement gap might be there. If I change it to 3, it might be there. And when I say there, it's from the occlusal surface all the way down to that point. 1 millimeter puts it right about that junction, right about where the cursor's sitting at. Leave it at about 1. It creates a nice cement gap so that the crown fits a little bit nicer, and you're getting a good amount of space for your cement when you go to cement it without opening your margin. The smooth distance, that's just telling you how smooth it's going to incur. It's nothing important. Same thing here in drill radius. Leave those drill radiuses alone, because when it goes to mill the crown, these drill radiuses need to make certain that there's enough space for the diamond burr or carbide burr that the lab will use to mill this out. So these drill compensations are very important. Don't play with those. If the lab needs to change it, they'll reopen the STL file when they get it, and they'll change it for their particular machine, but don't change it here. So in essence, this is just for information. Leave it alone. Don't play with it and you'll be safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to go next. We're happy with the margins. We're happy with what we see at this point in time. Now it's going to be a matter of creating the crown. It's going to create something in here that looks like a crown, but it doesn't always fit the mold. As you can see right now, you can see that crown is extremely high. But I'm glad it's doing this on this particular case, because now we can actually go through some of the buttons that you're going to use to redesign this crown. So right up in here, you're going to see a lot of buttons at the top right hand corner. You're going to see scissors, you're going to see markings, and these markings just allow you to see certain things. This particular button right in here that I just turned on tells you where your crown is extremely high. Same thing as this button right in here. You can see where it's thin. So right in here, if you're at 0 or you're set at 2 millimeters thickness, it's telling you exactly what you need. Right in here, just kind of leave it alone at 1 millimeter. I think that's what it was set on. I'm just putting it back somewhere close. And this button right here is this is the high button. You just don't want to get too high on that. Anything that's red is telling you it's extremely incorrect. So I'm going to show you these buttons over here that you can help fix this problem. This button right here, this one that will, when you highlight over it, will say individual transformation. Click on that, and when you do that, you'll see all these little buttons right in here. You're going to see this red button. It allows for rotation of the crown. And I'll just go back and let it fix itself. If you go to this angle right here, you click on the crown and you do this rotation, it rotates directly vertical. So you rotate it based on the way you're looking at the crown. I'm going to change this back to what it was, and I can sit there and say I don't like a lot of different things. If I click back on here, there's a spot right here. You can actually reduce the occlusal height. And that was that green button. If you want to move the whole crown or this part of the coronal portion around the margin down, you can actually lower that. Not that anybody wants to do that, but that's how you do it. So we're going to start by actually removing the height of that crown. We want that crown down closer to the area. And you can see right in here, this is marked very low to the margin. So I'm going to actually bring that up high so it's kind of right at the margin. And you can see right in here how over contoured that crown is. Nobody wants that big beer belly look of their crown, because it's going to create problems with their gingiva, health of everything. You can come in here and push on this button. This is the individual transformation. If you click on that one with the tweezers, it's giving you a marking right in here, and you're going to see right here where it's individual morphing. You can actually make that circle bigger. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's kind of covering the whole crown, or you can make it really small, and I'll show you what that does. Right in there, see how it only reduces certain areas of it? Now if I go really big, same thing. I can make it look any way I want. So I kind of stick somewhere in the middle, because what I'm trying to do is just morph out that over contour. So I want to come in here and I want to bring that over contour back a little bit. Same thing here. I want to just bring that over contour just so it makes it look a little bit better in that area. These cusps, if you're looking at these cusps worn here and here, look how high these lingual cusps are. I don't like those lingual cusps being so high, I know they're going to be an interference, so I want to lower those down a little bit. And same thing as the anatomy right in here. The anatomy is so deep in those certain areas that I want to bring that anatomy up so they're not such deep fossas. If they're so deep, what can happen is if it's fitting into the too close to the actual prep area, it might fill that in anyway when you go to reduce the occlusion. You can see all the red here, here, and I'm going to bring up some red in this area too. The red means it's high in occlusion. I'm going to show you how you get rid of that, because what we want to do is make certain the form and function of the crown is good. So I'm going to come back into the individual. I can do that, and if I feel I need to bring that in just slightly, I can do that, and if I feel like I need to bring that in slightly, I can do that too. Now I can bring up the occlusal of the adjacent tooth, and I can see I want this center cusp more into the fossa of that tooth right here. I don't like where you're getting it onto that triangular ridge too much on this side. This one's a nice fit right in here. I'm going to change a couple things. I'm going to rotate that so we're getting more of a rotation. And if this yellow button right in here, it allows for more of an angulation. So I'm getting more of that cusp shape that I want. And I can come in here and I can actually create more of that shape and right where I want the cusp. So I want that cusp more into that fossa. Same thing here. I want these cusps to be in a certain position, so when we're getting good triangulation, we're getting the good contacts of where we want the crown. So I've kind of put those cusps right where I want, just for educational purposes. That's kind of where we want. And I'm going to take this back a little bit. I'm going to create more of the shape of the crown instead of making it look like a boxing glove. True anatomy would have this cusp more into that center area right here, but I don't want to do that because it's going to turn around and look odd, so I'll just leave it as that. In here, I can come into this point right in here, and I can come into, I'm just going into contacts. That little joystick right there is your contacts. What it's telling you, you can do certain things. You can see these little play buttons. See the little greens right in here? That tells you once you push on it, it will reduce occlusion. So what we want to do is this is your occlusal right here. Desired distance to antagonist, 0. That means it's going to be set right at 0. And when I do that, it's going to take automatically the contacts of the opposing model and take it off of the actual crown. So now this is set at 0 microns. Now when you're dealing with crown and bridge, when you're dealing with impressions, if you're doing a traditional impression, the teeth are set up on ligaments. So as they bite down into an impression material, if it's a true triple tray and they bite hard, both teeth, the upper and the lower, are going to depress. So if I just set this at 0, chances are when you get this crown back, it's going to be slightly high because it doesn't account for the compression when you go to pour up the model. So I might sometimes actually reduce this amount to like negative 0.15 and then redo it again, and that way it will reduce it down slightly out of occlusion, but I can guarantee it will still be slightly high when you go to seat it. Now if you're doing a true scanning of this, leave it at 0 because the scanning does not use compression when the patient bites into an impression material, or if you're taking a full tray and you're passively taking an impression, it's not forcing the teeth into that compression state. It's only when you're using a triple tray where the patient, you're saying bite down, the patient goes, and then all of a sudden the teeth are compressed. Then you want to compensate slightly for that. So that's what this compensation here is. This allows for how much of your occlusion is going to be against the opposing. So it will either create high occlusion, low occlusion, depending on how you change that. But for this exercise, leave it at 0 and just adjust it intraoral, because when you're taking these impressions on your typodont, you're not using as much force as your masseter is doing to create that force. So leave it at 0. If you have to adjust it, use some diamonds and adjust it intraorally. This button right in here is for distance to the, that's distance to antagonist 2. I'll just change that. I don't know why there's 2 buttons. And this one is your contacts. It will say distance to your neighbors. So it's set at 0. If you want to go higher, you can. If you want to make the contacts broader. But in here, I can see on the screen, if I'm looking at the screen, 0 is actually slightly open. If you can see that right there, I don't know how it's doing here. It's slightly open on that side too. I like to give myself some room to finish, so I might go back in here to that same draw and actually come in here and actually pull that slightly into the occlusion area where I want it. Right there, and I might do the same thing here, or you can adjust it where you want, but I like to create the contact areas. Now when you go to look at your crown when you're designing this, look at it from a buccal or a lingual's view, and you're going to see right in here, if your contact is too far down on this tooth right here or too far down on this tooth here, you're going to create a path of insertion problem. So when the crown is milled, it's going to be milling inverted like this, an inverted diamond, and what you're going to do is when you go to seat the crown, you won't be able to get that crown past the height of contour here and past the height of contour here. So you really want to pay attention where this contact is. You don't want it so far down you're going to have a problem seating your crown, but you definitely want nice broad contacts. And when I say broad contacts, the broader you can make a contact from here to here, you're going to stop patients from getting food entrapment, things that always get the patient back to sit there and say, I'm getting a piece of chicken stuck between my teeth. You want long, broad contacts, and when I say long, only as long as the adjacent tooth allows. But you can create broad contacts from here to here and here to here. Long contacts are from here to here. But keep the long contact only above the height of contour, if that makes sense. So once we're done doing that, we're like, okay, now we like the shape of the crown, everything's good to go, we've made all the adjustments you want. What you're going to do is you're going to click on next again.
So, can I just interrupt for a second, Larry? I love, man, you're so good at this. I love everything that you have talked to them about, the broad contacts, contours, how critical all those things are. One of the things that we try to impress upon the students when it comes to occlusion is a centrum type contact, so that they avoid any inclines, the contact. They get graded on this project for creating 1 or 2 centrum types. So if we can create, if you could show them, maybe emphasize a little bit, maybe on the distal marginal ridge or just somewhere on this crown, a very flat receiving area for an upper tooth cusp to come down and have that cusp tip touch, but not have the inclines be on any incline contacts. Kind of show them how you might go through intensifying, say, that distal marginal ridge to create a good receiving area, centrum contact.
Okay, I'll go into 2 different phases. One phase is when we're taught in the lab to create contacts, and I'm not contradicting, I want to make certain they know how we're trained compared to how you're training dentistry wise. We're looking at multiple different aspects to create non-tipping forces. We call it ABC contacts. What we try to do is create contact here, 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 here. So we're getting a good balance of contact in 3 different versions. So when they're biting into centric, there is no tipping of that tooth one way or the other. We're also creating a contact here, or at least on that mesial slope and on the distal slope as much as possible, to create a stop movement vertical. But also through excursive movements, when I go to finish a crown, I'm actually running it through my articulator, so I'm getting a good balance. When we're going through a lateral movement here and here, I'm getting a good lateral movement here, but trying to keep contact on this cusp right in here, and along this centric point to keep from a tipping standpoint. So the articulator does this really well. So if you go into this little you'll see a little articulator right here. Click on the articulator. This gets you good centric contacts. It doesn't do really well on movement contacts. So in here, you're just ignore this plate for the most part. Even though you don't see, I'm going to get rid of this articulator because it just interferes. Even though it's not on there, it's still on there. I take things off and I take things on based on what I don't like the look of. So in this case scenario, I've got my occlusion. I'm doing this for a purpose. So when you're in here and you're creating your crown, you can actually look at certain things. I'm going to take this model, wrong model. I'm going to take this model off because I want to show you what this does. If you go into this articulator setting right here, what it's doing is it's allowing you to create guided by design, guided by incisal plate, and record contacts. See this little play button? All we need is record contacts for right now. You can go into that button right there, and because we're already slightly out of occlusion, what it's doing is it's actually checking certain things. So while this is on, and you can actually adapt designs, you can adapt the design and it will take off those contacts. But be very aware that this information is based on an articulator setting that's predominantly set generically. You won't know truly what, and this is the problem with the lab, unless you give me check bites, unless you're giving me a full recording of the bite, I can do as much as I can on the computer and still not be right. So, but the articulator does this. This allows for that movement. So you just go in here, click on the play, and remember I kept this slightly out of occlusion because of this type of articulator. If it was a full arch and it was a passive impression, I like to call them passive and active impressions. The passive impression, I keep at 0, and these contacts will be actually marked a little bit better. But I can turn around and do anything I want on here. I can come in here and say I want to add some material. You get these little buttons right in here. I'm going to go to add. This button right here tells you how much you're going to add, a lot or a little area. This button right here tells you how much material you're going to add at any one time. So if I come in here and I'm going to add, I can come in here and I can add a lot of material. You can see how I added a ton. This gives you a better idea. Now I can sit there and say, I want to record contacts. I can play that, and it's going to sit there and say, hold on a second. This might be too much, but I can adapt it, and it's going to remove anything that's predominantly preset into that articulator setting. So this is an easy way to actually adapt your designs, and I'm going to undo it because it's saying there's no contact on this side. So I'm just going to remove both of those. But that's how you can actually see where it's removed. If it's really high in the design phase and you come into the articulator phase, it will take out those premature contacts during all phases of movement. And you can see how I'll do it again, but this time I'll do it with the articulator on. And I can turn around and you can see how it does it from this phase right in here. And you can see how it moves it in all phases, forward, back, protrusive, lateral movements.
So I'm glad we went through that. Mm-hmm. And notice, I want my students to notice, go ahead and take the upper arch off, and let's go to an occlusal
I'll probably
view.
Do that wrong one again. There we go.
That's okay.
There you go.
So notice how taking it through the articulator, and we've got to point out, now this articulator is guessing. It's like Larry said, it's an average value, because we haven't given the lab all of the information with a face bow and hind axis and all that other information. So it's kind of guessing. We're giving it this little teeny tiny quadrant impression that's only part of the information. But based upon that average value, notice how much flatter the triangular ridges are on the tooth after he ran it through those excursions. So it flattened a lot of those triangular ridges out to get rid of excursive interferences. Now it's a guess, but it did flatten them out some. Now, Larry, I got to tell you, as a practical matter, what you described is kind of going back maybe 10 minutes in our conversation, kind of a tripodization almost of the contacts, where you have opposing contacts on triangular ridges that kind of compensate for the lateral force each one of those contacts would put on the tooth, correct?
Yes.
So those are great, but I'll say as a practical matter, especially when we do an impression with these small triple trays like are so common out there, and like 90% of you, 100% almost, are going to be using those a lot. We want you to get good with them because they only give you part of the information. So that's why we have them go to a centrum type contact, because if one or more of those inclined contacts that are kind of tripoding and working together as a group is off, then there'll be a lateral load in one direction or the other. So we try to simplify it to the point where get rid of all inclines and just have a cusp tip on a flat receiving area.
Yep.
And so it's a little artificial in its construct, but show them how we would do a centrum. Now that you've kind of gotten rid of some of the interferences on those triangular ridges, one of the things it's so important that the students understand, abruptly introducing lateral interferences on most patients will be an obnoxious thing.
Yes.
And we want to try to avoid that. And so this discussion that Larry and I are having is so critical to you understanding how to achieve that. Now, yeah, you could achieve it with tripodization, but you've got to get all those contacts just right in the mouth, or there will be perceived with some patients a bit of a lateral load. So show them how to do a flat area just to take a cusp tip. That distal marginal ridge would be a great place maybe to try to pick something up.
Okay. Say it's high and you want to remove it. Is that kind of what you were?
Yeah, or bring it into, and maybe it's not quite in contact right now, is it?
It's right now. This will still be in contact. Right now, it's even though because it's in a passive. This is an active state, not really on a typodont. When they go to seat this crown, though, chances are it's going to be hitting it a little bit high. More than likely.
Okay.
But say you want to add certain material or subtract certain material and you know where you want to add it.
Yeah.
You can go in here to this spray can. You can do it two different ways. You can spray it in with, so do you want to, say you want to add to here.
Yeah,
or do you want to
that, or let's subtract a little bit right over there so that it flattens that ridge out slightly.
So you can do two different things. You can go into the negative, which is removing. I have a smaller circle and I want to do it slowly, so I want to take less material off. And I can actually come in here and I'm actually just wiping that out.
So let's leave it in the center part, but maybe take it off the incline a little bit. Excuse me.
More on this incline.
Yeah, exactly. Just
so you want to remove this incline, so you can do it this way. That's the long way of doing it, but it's a little bit more precise because you can do it in phases. Touch and move, touch and move. Or you can come to this again, which allows you to remove in segments larger amounts. So you can actually lower that. And see how the red's gone? So you can say, I want that red gone there, I want the red gone here, I want the red gone here, because I don't want any of those. I can actually remove all of those things. But remember, whenever I'm removing something, it's getting closer to the die and closer to the die spacer. So if I don't give myself enough space, the computer is going to fix that anyway. Unless I say I want this set at 0 and it allows me to mill this thing or design it at 0.5 millimeter, which zirconia you can get down fairly thin. You just have to be aware of it. Don't layer it to it, but if it's a full contour, you can. But say we've reduced that and we like the look of that crown now. We've taken away these excursives and the high on that distal marginal ridge right in there, and we've taken that completely down the way we want. It's so low that it's even below the mesial marginal ridge.
I wouldn't want you to go that low, but
But this is for demonstration purposes.
Exactly.
As you're designing this, you're designing it the way you like. And every time I make a change, I can keep doing this. I just keep going back until I get to the phase that I was before. And because we made so many changes to it, it takes a little while, but I'll just go there and just call it at that. But that's how you can add or subtract a certain area. Say I want to add more material. I want to raise that cusp up. I can do anything at this phase that I want. Just remember to turn this button on That's what's telling us where the red is. The darker the color, the more the contact. The lesser of the color, this tells you there's no contacting. That red dot right there tells me that's a higher contact. That's a higher contact. This is just probably not in a contact, but it's right near it. It's within that phase where it may contact or may not. Same thing here. There's some contact right in here. The yellow and the greens just means that's where the opposing's at. It's not touching, but it may or may not, depending on how well the impression, how well the bite, and all the other
fine
things.
tuning is so helpful for them to know.
But
Thank you for that.
The fine tuning is through all of these buttons: the spray can, the pulling feature, this feature right here to raise and lower and rotate. All of these features allow you to do something to this crown to make it your own. So whatever you like, adding a contact, adding a flat spot, adding something, this is where you're going to do it. And we're still in the articulator. I can do anything I want through the articulator. So before I even adjusted the contacts down here, I could have run it through the articulator setting first and said, oh, I want to see what's going on. So if I take this off right in here and I run it through, you can see right now where it's contacting. I can run it through the phase, and now you're getting yellows and greens and reds a little bit more, because this is telling you where the contacting is. So at this phase, you can actually come in here and you can manipulate and say, I want more contact here. Say I want to raise this up, and now I'm going to play it again, and you can see exactly where it's at, and then I can come back down here and adjust, or I can come in here and adapt designs, and the adapting of the design will take those premature contacts out. So you can do anything in the articulating phase or in the non-articulating phase. So you can add, subtract, move. You can do anything you want to this. You can spend an hour on it, you can spend 5 minutes on it, but whatever you design, it's going to be like that when it comes out of the milling unit. And whenever it comes out of the milling unit, you've got to do the finishing product on a model, in the mouth, on something. So we try to minimize how much information goes into the system, so it doesn't allow for a lot of time to spend clinically.
The closer you get it at every stage minimizes the time spent at subsequent stages trying to fix your errors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So say we're happy with that. Did that answer the questions?
Yeah. I wanted
it's all
them
through
to see
here.
that. Yeah.
Now, when we're done with the articulator, you can just click off that. It just takes the articulator phase off. Now we can go into next, and this is where you're always going to get something. Right in here, it's saying it's 0.57. It's a half a millimeter outside of the parameters. You can go to no and say I just want to go in, and you can see right in here, I can't move it, but you can see all this brown and red. These are the areas where it's saying it is kind of thin in these areas. Do you want to make certain you're at 1 millimeter? This is where you can bypass and say, nope, I want to mill it just like it is. Or yes, I do. And you can sit there and yes, and what it's going to do is it's going to fill in automatically all those thin areas that the computer, and it's taking into account everything from how much die spacer you have, how thin your prep is from the top of the prep to the occlusal of the next prep. And it's taking into account if the prep isn't perfectly smooth, what the computer does is it has to go in, instead of putting a perfect layer over anything, it takes those peaks and valleys and it raises up the peaks, and it doesn't ever shrink it, but it will raise those really deep areas based on the design and raise those up. So you might look and think, oh, I've got the perfect prep, but it might not be the perfect prep for a scan and design. So it's actually raising, and you might look at your die and sit there and say, man, I've got like a gob of space. Why did it say I still need to raise it a half a mil? It's not telling you have to raise it. It's just saying to meet that material's requirements, it wants to.
Yeah.
You can deny it and say, nope, I want it a half mil thickness, and you can mill it off and have that nice pretty crown. But this is giving you the exact thicknesses the material chooses. And most of the time we say yes, get us the minimum thickness. Now once you're done doing that, you can sit there and see, I'm pointing with my finger again, my cursor right here is saying crown number 19 is complete, and it's a check mark. When you go to close, that closing phase now is telling you the whole crown is done. At this point in time, you're finished. This is where my job will take in, and I'll reach back into your crown and I will retrieve it so I can send it off to the lab. But if you were doing this in real life, you would actually come in here and retrieve it as an STL file. So you have to highlight it, and there's an F7 button. You can either go in here, right click and go into advanced, and you can actually explore CAM. So you can go Shift F4 and you can generate CAM. You have to generate the CAM to compress the file into an STL, or it will still save as a DCM file. Most milling units and most systems don't take DCM, they take STL. So I just know what I'm supposed to be doing, so I'll click on it, hit F7, that's the shortcut button, and what it's doing is it's generating the STL file. Now I can explore the CAM by going Shift F4, and now I can actually go into that file, which is right here, STL, and I can double click on it. It's just going to bring up the crown. There it is. That's the crown. That's what we've designed, and that's what's going to be milled. I will retrieve all these crowns. I will compress the files. I will deal with all that as everybody gets done completing their crowns, and I will place those directly into a thumb drive that's secure, and it will send those off to the lab, and the lab will mill all of these crowns just like you designed. At that point, when they come back, then we'll go into the next phase, which is finishing the crown, getting everything ready to glaze, make it look pretty, and it's fitting everything.
How do you want them to save it for you then at this stage?
I don't want them to save it.
So just
I will do it. So as soon as you design and you click out of that design, it says designed on that form. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this screen. Once you're out of that and this little screen right here, your highlighted name, just say it's Jones Bobby. That's who you are. You want to name your last name and your first name. It will come down in here. I'm just saying Test Larry. But it will be your full name, and it will say designed right here. Once you see design, that means everything's finished. I will retrieve, based on the class roster, go into that particular case. I will compress the file and I will save it down myself. Because if they don't do it right and they get it to the lab, they won't be able to open it and mill.
So no reason to, just because there may be other cases coming through these computers and they're going to be designing on different computers.
Doesn't matter. They always saves to this server.
Okay.
Wherever I'm at, I can retrieve any case. So if I go into this design case right here, I have a class roster and I know all 54 names. When I go into this design and you closed it out and saved it, and it's under designed, all I have to do is go into this design and I will, there's Canales. That's one of the students. I can open it.
Let's do this. Because they're the class of 27, let's have them put 27 and then their last name and first initial.
Yeah, the lab will need to know that's fine on that. Doesn't matter. You can do it that way. 27 and then last name, and then under the first name, just their first name.
Yeah.
You can do it that initial way.
Yeah. Would that be easier? It'll kind of consolidate them all together.
It will consolidate, but I can guarantee, based on other classes, somebody's going to forget how to put it in. And I'm going to still hunt. I would just say first name, the last name, and the first name, and I will come in here and I'll review everything before I compress it. So if there's multiple, say there's 3 camps in there, and I will click on the name, it will actually tell me this is Joyce Camp. I will know who that case is, when it was scanned and created, and within that window of that 2 or 3 weeks that all the students are doing their things, I'll know which is whose is whose.
Very good.
So just last name, first name, and then I'll have a class roster, and then I'll just be marking all, just like we did before. I'll mark everything through, and I'll save them down. Once they're all done, then I'm able to download them directly into the thumb drive and get them sent over to the lab, and they'll mill them. It's important to have your first and last name on there so the lab can actually mark that, so when they all come back, they're going to come back in a bunch. They know whose crown is whose, because they won't try it on, they won't do anything. They'll only know once they start putting it onto their die.
And I'm going to ask students that you go ahead and put your name like that on your model so it doesn't get mixed up with somebody else's. I'm not worried about it with the scanning process. I'm worried about it in the sim lab getting lost, mixed up. It's just easier to identify if you have your name on it like that. So please put your name on the outside, and that'll make it easier to identify.
Yeah, and last thing is, if anybody needs any help with any of this information, chances are you're going to come find me. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys. I'm around, and I'll be able to give you a hand. So
one of the other, and I appreciate that, Larry, one of the other things I just want to add, in years past, I've had the student that just finished designing, scanning, designing, we say this for both, help the student that follows him in him or her in the process. That way, you're not only getting a chance to do it, but you're getting a chance to teach it as well, and it will help solidify it in your mind. So we're going to have a sign-up list for scanning and milling, and whoever comes after you on that sign-up list, I want you to take the time to tutor them through, or at least help them. They may not need much help, but you'll be there to help them through the process if they need it. And then, of course, we've always got Larry to step in and help us if we really need it. So, Larry, thank you so much for this demonstration.
And reiterate, this computer in the CAD lab is only for the scanning part of it. Yeah. The designing phase, because the design takes far longer, it will just take forever for everybody to scan and design on one computer system. So scan, and then take your scan that's already saved on here and go to the tech lab and open the software there to do your designing, because we have 40 workstations in there. So you could have, scanning takes minutes, designing takes far longer. So do it that way, and everybody will be able to work correctly through the whole system.
Awesome. So, Larry, thank you so much. Go ahead and we'll just, yep. Yeah.